So what more do we know about the suspect?
Our Justice correspondent Scott McFarlane has been piecing together the life of Tyler Robinson.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there.
On September 10th, 2025, a 22-year-old walked onto a university rooftop with his grandfather's hunting rifle, took aim at one of America's most controversial political figures, and at exactly 12:23 p.m. pulled the trigger. The victim, Charlie Kirk, a man with 5 million followers who'd built a conservative empire worth $95 million. The killer, a young man whose own family turned him in. But here's what makes this case absolutely insane. The murderer couldn't keep his mouth shut. He left confession notes, sent incriminating texts, and basically solved the case for police himself. And the confession? It's more twisted than you could ever imagine. All right, let's start with the victim. Charlie Kirk was basically a big deal in conservative politics. Picture this, a 31-year-old guy who never finished college but somehow built a political empire worth $95 million. Pretty crazy, right? Kirk started something called Turning Point USA when he was just 18 years old. Think of it like a conservative club for young people, but it got huge. We're talking over 3,500 chapters across schools everywhere. This guy had over 5 million followers on social media and his own podcast that reached 1 million people every day. Now here's the thing. Kirk wasn't just popular, he was controversial as hell. He was against abortion, gay marriage, and transgender rights.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman.
He was also super close with Donald Trump and helped him win the 2024 election. Some people loved him, others absolutely hated him. And as we'll see, that hate turned deadly. Tyler Robinson's childhood couldn't have been more different from Kirk's. While Kirk was building a conservative empire, Tyler was growing up in a house divided. His father had fallen hard for Trump's message after 2016, becoming what family members called a die-hard MAGA supporter. Imagine being a kid watching your dad transform from a regular guy into someone obsessed with politics. Tyler watched his father consume hours of conservative media every day, getting angrier and more radical. The man who used to take him fishing was now ranting about stolen elections and deep state conspiracies. But Tyler went the opposite direction. As his father moved right, Tyler moved left. And not just a little bit. He became passionate about LGBTQ rights, racial justice, and progressive causes. Everything his father supported through Trump and Kirk, Tyler opposed. The breaking point came when Tyler started dating a transgender woman. For Tyler, love was love. But for his father, this relationship probably felt like a personal betrayal of everything he believed. And Charlie Kirk? Kirk had made a career out of attacking transgender rights, calling them a threat to children and society. So picture Tyler sitting at family dinners, listening to his father praise the same man who would attack Tyler's girlfriend on national television. Picture the anger building day after day, meal after meal, until Tyler couldn't take it anymore. Tyler had been increasingly politically active in the months before the murder, according to family members. But his activism wasn't limited to voting or protesting. He was planning something much darker. For over a week before September 10th, Tyler researched Kirk's schedule, studied the campus layout, and practiced with his grandfather's rifle. This wasn't a moment of rage. It was calculated, premeditated murder. September 10th started like any other day in the Robinson household. Tyler probably ate breakfast with his parents, maybe said goodbye like normal. His father had no idea his son was about to kill the man he considered a hero. Tyler drove to Utah Valley University with his grandfather's rifle hidden in his car. The campus was buzzing with activity. Kirk's Prove Me Wrong tour always drew crowds, both supporters and protesters. Kirk set up his usual spot under a white tent, surrounded by cameras and security. He loved these campus debates because they made great content for his social media empire. Students would challenge him on abortion, gay rights, or Trump, and Kirk would demolish their arguments with facts and statistics. It was political theater at its finest. At 12:15 p.m., Tyler climbed onto the roof of the Losey Center, 142 yards away from Kirk's tent. He could see everything. Kirk gesturing dramatically, students gathered around, cameras rolling. Tyler set up his shot and waited for the perfect moment. Kirk was in the middle of answering a question about mass shootings. The irony would be noted by every news report later. A student asked something about gun control, and Kirk launched into his usual defense of the Second Amendment. He never saw it coming. The shot rang out at exactly 12:23 p.m. Tyler's bullet traveled 142 yards in less than a second and struck Kirk in the left side of his neck. Deseret News reporter Emma Pitts, who was there covering the event, watched Kirk collapse. "I just saw so much blood come out of the left side of Charlie's neck, and then he went limp."
I heard the gunshot. I saw the left side of his neck, just so much blood leave his neck.
Chaos erupted instantly. Students screamed and hit the ground. Security rushed toward Kirk, while others ran for cover. Former Congressman Jason Chaffetz, who was there supporting Kirk, described the scene. As soon as the shot went out, everybody hit the deck and everybody started scattering and yelling and screaming. Meanwhile, Tyler was running. Someone caught him on video, sprinting across the rooftop after the shot, then dropping to the ground and disappearing into nearby woods. But in his panic, he left behind crucial evidence: palm prints on the roof edge, DNA on the rifle, and the murder weapon itself. What happened next is what makes this case so bizarre. Instead of laying low and hoping to get away with murder, Tyler basically confessed to everyone he knew. First, there was the pre-written note he'd hidden under his roommate's keyboard the night before. Remember, he wrote this before he even committed the murder. "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." It's like he wanted to get caught. But that was just the beginning. After the shooting, Tyler went home and started texting his transgender girlfriend. These weren't careful, coded messages. They were full confessions. When she asked why he killed Kirk, Tyler wrote back, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." He called Kirk too evil and said he spread too much hate. The texts got even more revealing when Tyler started panicking about the rifle. He wrote to his girlfriend, "I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man?" Think about that. The guy just committed murder, and he's worried about getting in trouble with Dad for losing a family gun. Tyler also confessed to friends on Discord, writing, "It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." He couldn't help himself. He had to tell someone what he'd done. DNA evidence later confirmed what everyone already knew from his confessions. Tyler's genetic material was found on the rifle's trigger, sealing his fate. The most heartbreaking part of this story is what happened next. Tyler's own family became the key to catching him. Police released security footage of the shooter, hoping someone would recognize him. But someone turned out to be Tyler's mother. Imagine seeing your child's face on the news in connection with murder. What do you do? Do you protect your son or do your duty as a citizen? When Tyler's mother confronted him about the footage, he lied, claiming he'd been homesick that day. But his father kept pushing for answers, and Tyler's resolve cracked. He admitted he was thinking about suicide, which terrified his parents. Tyler's parents faced an impossible choice. They could let their son run and probably kill himself, or they could convince him to surrender and spend the rest of his life in prison. With help from a family friend who was a retired deputy sheriff, they chose to turn him in. After 33 hours on the run, Tyler Robinson walked into a police station and surrendered. The manhunt was over, but the family's nightmare was just beginning. Think about the dinner table conversations in that house now. The father who supported everything Kirk stood for. The mother who turned in her own son. The son who committed murder over politics. That family will never be the same. So why did Tyler Robinson commit murder? The answer is both simple and terrifying. Political hatred had consumed him. Tyler had been watching Kirk for years, listening to him attack everything Tyler believed in. When Kirk spoke against transgender rights, Tyler heard attacks on his girlfriend. When Kirk promoted conservative values, Tyler heard oppression and hate. Living with a father who worshipped Kirk while Tyler despised him created unbearable tension. Every family meal became a political argument. Every news story became a fight. Tyler felt trapped in his own home, surrounded by people who celebrated his enemy. Tyler told investigators he was fed up with Kirk's message. He believed the world would be better without Kirk's influence. In his mind, murder was justified because Kirk was spreading hate and hurting people like his girlfriend. But here's what Tyler didn't understand. Violence never wins political arguments. If anything, Kirk's death made him more powerful as a martyr than he ever was alive. Robinson is facing 7 charges, including murder, and prosecutors want the death penalty. When he appeared in court, he was wearing a suicide prevention outfit and showed no emotion. Utah's prosecutor called this an American tragedy and said it shows how dangerous political violence is getting. President Trump announced that Kirk will get the Presidential Medal of Freedom after his death, making him a martyr for conservatives. So, in a twisted way, Robinson's plan backfired. Instead of silencing Kirk's message, he amplified it and made Kirk more famous than ever. This case raises fundamental questions about our society. How do we prevent political disagreement from turning into deadly violence? What can families do when they're divided by ideology? And most importantly, how do we have political conversations without dehumanizing people we disagree with? Robinson's actions didn't change any minds or advance any cause. They just took a life, destroyed multiple families, and made our political climate even more toxic. That's the real tragedy here. All this pain and destruction accomplished absolutely nothing positive. The Charlie Kirk murder will be remembered as a turning point in American political violence. It shows us exactly where hatred and radicalization can lead, and it's a path none of us should ever want to follow.